Welcome back to the Two-Ton Money Super 1 British Karting Championships. It's the Mini X30 class next, the TDI Media Cup class, in which I've put on the greatest trophy in World Motorsport this weekend. I'm disappointed with the grid size, to be honest, but I'm not surprised that this young man's turned up, Cian Shields. You did the guest round at Lark Hall when you were very quick. I know you're racing out in Europe pretty much this year. Yeah. This is your second guest round. No surprise to see you here this weekend, because I thought that trophy would be just too big a draw for you. What do you think of it? Yeah,
it looks really cool up in the cafe, and hopefully I can get out there and win it.
Yeah, because it's the one trophy that won't end up in your loft, that's for sure. It's a nice ornament. So this weekend at Gleneagles Park, have you been here before?
Yeah, I did the LGM round here a couple of months ago.
Okay, and how's it going for you this weekend so far?
Yeah, it's going all right. We had a third in the first heat yesterday, then got a puncture in the second one, so
you're going to have to start a little bit down the grid for the pre-final, but then it's not a big grid, so it should be quite easy for you, I guess.
Yeah, it should be a good race. It's been quite close because of the small grid, so.
Okay, well, good luck.
Thank you.
So 6 drivers competing for the Dragon Masters Trophy. McLean, Lomliev, Edgar, Bolton, Walker and Shields. It's a very clumsy start, very nearly, and away they go. So up through the first corner and up the Dragon Straight for the first time. Let's see who's going to get the jump. It will be a very exciting run up to Spoon Curve and a massive move round the outside.
Lomliev round the outside for the lead, goes straight past Josh McLean. And it is Lomliev down the hill who has it. It's the Dragon Masters Trophy, by the way, the greatest trophy in World Motorsports, put on by yours truly. I am a little bit disappointed with 6 people turning up. I thought when I put this on, I'll get a grid of 15-20 for this. No such luck.
Well, it doesn't matter. These guys are still going to push for it. Hammer and tongs, tooth and nail. Jess Edgar into 3rd position, just in front of Cian Shields. We spoke to him a little bit earlier, of course. The Flying Scotsman, as I've started calling him, over the course of the season. He's had an amazing season. Won the Valencia Cup. Oh, sorry, I say won the Valencia Cup. Was the first privateer home at the Valencia Cup overall. His first ever weekend in Europe, and he was 3rd. So this boy's got plenty of speed, and he is now charging up to Jessica Edgar, who of course won the first televised final of the season at Super 1. That got a little bit close. McLean and Lomliev in trouble.
And that's a problem not only for the Dragon Masters Trophy, he's not going to win it now, but also for the championship. He's obviously had a problem coming through the turns, had a mechanical issue, but the driver that ran into the back of him, I think was McLean, has that dislodged his front nose cone.
Potentially, yeah, McLean could get a penalty for running into the back of Lomliev. Completely not his fault either. So Lomliev is struggling at the back, and look what this is going to do for the championship, because Lomliev was only 1 point behind McLean at that point. But watch as they come across the line this time. McLean has gone through, and Lomliev is tumbling back. He's now 11 points back.
Wow, yeah, there was only a point between them. That is such bad luck for Lomliev. Had such a great start here through the outside of turn 2 to take the lead, but what a disaster for him, not only for today. I mean, obviously all these drivers have had a look at that trophy upstairs in the cafe and thought, oh, I want to take that home. It's the only trophy that won't end up in the loft, as I've said. It's a great ornament for the mantelpiece. But he won't be taking it home, Lomliev. Will he be taking home the championship?
Now,
probably not now.
The question I've got to ask, if Lomliev retires from the race in 6th position, will he still be eligible for the points? I'm fairly sure he will be.
Yeah. You still score points if you're out of the race. It's not like, I know you're thinking about the Mini Bikes Championship that we covered, Jake, where if they don't finish, or indeed don't finish in the top 16, but if they DNF, in any race, whether there's 10 or 11 in the race, if you DNF, you don't score any points. I love that dynamic, by the way, I really do. We don't have that here, as Josh McLean sets the fastest lap at 51 dead. We don't have that here, where wherever you end up, whether you've DNF'd or not, you will score points for that position.
So today, Lomliev is actually very lucky that there's only 6 cars on the grid, of course.
Well, the problem with that is, I've always said, you know, people say, oh, it's easy to win in a, you know, on a grid where there's only 6 people racing. But the problem is, you can't make up. If he DNF'd there and dropped down to 25th, Josh McLean would be loving it because he's made a huge gap on him. But because there's only 6 in the race, he's not gained that many points. Having said that, 11 points at this stage. With somebody of Josh McLean's experience, he will be able to, I believe, to manage the process at PF International and manage the gap, manage the points, and know exactly what he has to do in the final race of the year to take the championship home. And another lady doing well, by the way, Jake, today.
Jess Edgar, yes.
Jess Edgar.
Jess Edgar's had a very strong season, actually, in Mini X30. She won the first televised final of the year, of course.
And who's that man in third place, Jake?
The Flying Scotsman.
To be fair to Cian Shields, I know about Cian because I know you, Jake, have been a great supporter of him over the last year. You mentioned him to me before we were at Lark Hall. You mentioned him to me as a great driver, done well in Europe. I hadn't seen him out in Europe, but you've seen him. I know he's somebody that you support. Yeah,
he's been absolutely a revelation. And of course, before this year, he was only a club driver. He only really raced at the West Scotland Kart Club up at Lark Hall. So he's done a very good job to come into an international and national campaign this year. Look, 50.980. Clearly, racing at Lark Hall has done him the power of good. They obviously get a lot of rain up in Scotland, so he is absolutely lightning quick in these conditions. Now, Cian is a very mature driver as well. He's not one of those drivers who will banzai if there's a whiff of a gap. He will calculate for an overtaking move. So he's going to take these 7 minutes and see where his teammate Jess Edgar is vulnerable and start to chip away. But you've got 3 fusion karts, 1, 2 and 3. So they will all know the one thing they are not allowed to do is take each other out. That's the one cardinal rule. Meanwhile, we've got Aaron Walker charging back in 4th position. Aaron Walker is another one of those drivers who's had absolutely no luck over the course of his campaign. He's been lightning quick for the Kato Motorsport team ever since day one. He's just never had the luck. And with only 5 drivers left in this race, a podium is very, very possible. But what it does do is his consistency through the year. Look at that, 3rd position in the Drivers' Championship. He's got a real chance here, Aaron Walker, to end his maiden season in Mini X30, his maiden full campaign at national level on a massive high. Yeah, no doubt about it. Jess Edgar here in 2nd place, winner at Lark Hall, Jake, after various penalties, but that makes no difference whatsoever. Her name is still down as a Super 1 winner and will be forevermore. That is Cian Shields on the 22. Looking like he can't quite close the gap. In fact, he's now going to come under pressure himself from Aaron Walker. Walker on the move, so just half a second off Cian Shields. He's going to close that gap, as indeed is Jess Edgar on the leader. Can she get past Josh McLean and take the Dragon Master Trophy back to Cumbria? It's very disappointing to see some of the big names from this championship unable to attend this weekend for whatever reason, particularly Josh Rowledge, of course. Yeah, I was amazed. Rowledge, I'm not sure why, but Josh is not here. Well, yeah, Rowledge is one of the most successful drivers over the course of this season. He's always one of those drivers who in qualifying, he'll be in the top 3 guaranteed every time. He'll push on with the Strawberry Racing team batting in his corner every time, and it's a real surprise not to see him here. Not least because of the trophy that's on offer. All right, I understand he's well behind in the championship. They may be decided to save some budget, go elsewhere, but this trophy, believe me, Jake, it's worth winning. My son's got one, it's still on the sideboard. Lots of the other trophies he won are all in the loft. That one isn't. Well, I'm irritated that I haven't put together a kart for this particular one, or that my daughter isn't quite old enough to race in Mini X30 yet. With these kind of numbers on the grid, we could have had it on our mantelpiece. But this is a very interesting challenge now, because Jessica Edgar, she's been taking the last few laps very, very steadily, but she knows that Josh McLean, okay, he's leading the championship, but Jess Edgar has seen that trophy. She wants it on her mantelpiece. Yeah, got to be fair to the drivers. Look at that. There's only 5 of them left in the race, and we just saw all 5 in the same shot. So although it's a very small grid, not many in it, we've still got some excitement, and we should have some excitement all the way down to the finish here with just 4 1/4 minutes to go. Yep, this is Mini X30 in 2018. I have yet to see a dull race from this class in 2018, and I don't think this one is anywhere near that level yet, because these two are still going to be together battling, and this is one of the great dynamics I love about Super 1. We get so many teams coming from all different parts of the country, and sometimes the big teams will have drivers, 2 or 3 of them, that are incredibly quick, almost as quick as each other. and there's always that worry, that concern potentially in the back of the mechanics and the officials' head. And I wonder just how worried Dan Hazelwood is about the potential of 2 or 3 of the drivers coming together in the same awning. It's that moment you just don't want to be in that awning dealing with the fallout.
You certainly don't, there's no doubt about it. By the way, we just had a look at one of the officials there in the middle of the track. I think it was Ken Potter. He's quite distinctive, even from behind Ken. And I just want to pay tribute to all the officials that stand out. I know I've gone on about our cameramen standing out in all sorts of weather, but the officials as well. And we had a clerk of the course suffer from hypothermia. Had to be treated for hypothermia at Rissington.
Hypothermia in August. That's how bad it was.
Incredible. But I just want to pay tribute to all the officials, the marshals who come here. They stand out in miserable weather and do a great job. Without them, frankly, everyone complains about them, particularly the officials. Obviously, the clerk of the course, they're always getting complained about. They never do anything right, do they? But without them, guess what? We haven't got a meeting. There is no meeting. There are no decisions being made, and there's absolute anarchy on the track.
Yep.
So I just want to pay tribute to the officials who stand out in all sorts of conditions. The marshals, we spoke to the medics obviously in this programme as well. They all do such a great job, and without any of them, there is no racing.
Yep, I can vouch for it. The Orange Army in British motorsport are the best marshals in the world, and not many people know this about me, but I actually started in motor racing as a marshal at my local karting circuit.
And my cameraman on this camera also is still a marshal.
There you go. So we do know what we're doing. We do look after people. We do our very best. And as you rightly said, we do not have motor racing without those marshals. So well done to each and every one of them. You have my lifetime unending respect. Right, down through Devil's Elbow comes this pack of 4. Dan Bolton seems to have dropped away a little bit off the back of the queue, but he is still relatively... Well, I was going to say he's dropped a little off the queue here. Unfortunately, he is now out of the race.
Out. But look at this. The 4 karts left in the race are still occupying the same piece of tarmac.
Yep.
All right, a bit of a gap between them. And Jess Edgar has now lost the back of Josh McLean. It looks like it's McLean for the race today, and McLean that will be taking home that fantastic trophy. Will Jess Edgar be able to hold on to second place, because she's coming under pressure here from Kian Shields, who's getting a lot closer, as indeed is Aaron Walker.
Yeah.
He's not out of it either.
Do you know what? Looking at the lap times at the moment, fastest in the first sector for this lap of anybody, Kian Shields. He is getting closer to the 2 in front. Through the second sector, it's Josh McLean, because he's so strong in that second split. So it's out of the final turn, and you're absolutely right. Edgar is still in front of Kian Shields, but Shields is getting closer, although in that last sector he seemed to have lost a little bit of ground there, and I think it's that third sector where Kian is slightly vulnerable. But that man out in front, Josh McLean, do you know what? His second half of the season, Josh McLean, has been absolutely exceptional. He really struggled at the start of the year to put everything together, but this second half has been McLean's to dominate.
You call Dan McEwen, I call him Dan McEwen. I'm right. I call Josh McLean Josh McLean. You call him Josh McLean, and hey, guess what? I'm right again, and I know that. Why do I know that? Because I asked him later in the meeting.
Josh McLean.
How do you pronounce your name? How do you like it pronounced? It's McLean, he said. It's McLean. Do
you know what? McLean is cooler. Which 70s detective had that surname? Anyway, it is a moment for Josh McLean. Now, is he going to get one more lap here? No, he's not. Look, did you see the time run down just as he went across the line? So this is the last lap.
Yeah, that suits him. There's not 2 laps to go. There's just the 1 to go. He didn't want to go through the line and see a second left, so he had 2 laps to go. He'll be happy with just 1 lap, although, to be honest, I think if there was 10 laps, I don't think anyone's catching him today.
No, brilliant work this from the trio, the Fusion Motorsport Musketeers, all 3 of them, as they run through the carousel. Josh McLean controlling the pace. He made this one look very easy pickings, actually, in front of Jess Edgar, but that's going to help Jess's championship bid. She's now going to be just 10 behind Aaron Walker as they go to the last round of the championship. And actually, looking at those points, there is only 11 points separating McLean and Lomliev. So despite the fact that Lomliev's DNF'd, he still could win the TDI Media Cup at PF International. As McLean takes the win, that will be in the back of his mind. Edgar's second from Shields. It's a Fusion Motorsport podium lockout. Walker in 4th position. DNFs for Bolton and Lomliev, but the latter could still win the TDI Media Cup.
Josh, you had a big smile on your face just then, and I guess that's because you've just taken home the greatest trophy in World Motorsports. Just talk us through that race. Quite comfortable for you, it looked like.
Yeah, it obviously was. As a result of Ivan Lomliev having a breakdown halfway through, left us just on our own and just going around, just circulating on our own.
Who do you want to thank, by the way, for your win?
Fusion Motorsport, Chris, manager, Tom, my mechanic Sam, and everyone at home.
Okay, well done.
Thank you.
So for the TDI Media Cup, it's a two-way scrap between Josh McLean and Ivan Lomliev. Best of the rest? Well, it could be Aaron Walker or it could be Jess Edgar. Next up, Junior X30.